And let's get ready to start another episode of Miami Cop Talk. Another episode of Miami Cop Talk, and we're going to go ahead and continue on the messaging of COVID vaccination. Robert, want to introduce our guest?
Hello to everyone once again joining us on Miami Cop Talk. We are here joined today with the president of the Teachers Union in Miami-Dade County, the United Teachers of Dade, the one and only Karla Matz. We also have Chief Magnusson, David Magnusson, the chairperson of the COVID-19 committee for the Miami-Dade County Association of Chiefs of Police. Will speak to us about the current conditions about COVID in the county. But we wanted to get Karla on the show because it's really important. We know that school is getting ready to start. We have countless frontline workers. Yes, it does include the teachers. One of the most important people and positions that we have in our society. And what is going on, Karla, to protect them? I know the governor recently signed an executive order banning districts, basically preempting local districts from issuing mask mandates. Can you share your thoughts on what's going on, what the status is, how are the teachers coping with this, and what are they doing to protect themselves, and what does the public need to know? A lot of questions you could speak about.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, Representative Asencio. It's always an honor to be able to speak to our community from the perspective of folks that are on the front line. So a lot to digest, a lot to unpack here. One of the things is very evident. We have a governor who put out an executive order saying that we could not mandate masks in our schools, and then threatened that if we did, he would withhold funding from our public schools. Now, this is very infuriating for multiple levels. Number one, we know that our kids need to be back in our schools, and we want them to be back in our schools. And we've always been advocating for protection because we care about the health and safety of our kids. We know that our kids live with parents and with vulnerable people. We know that this Delta variant is much more contagious. They're saying that it is as contagious as the chickenpox. We also know that our kids are the most vulnerable right now because that is the age group that does not have access to vaccines. So while the American Association of Pediatrics has recommended mask wearing, and while we know that the CDC has also recommended mask wearing, we believe in following what the experts are saying. And I'm very, very concerned over the state of Florida. I'm concerned about what's happening with hospitalization rates, in particular with children. And, we're going to keep up fighting. Our teachers are concerned. Our teachers want to make sure that we have all the safety protocols in place before school starts on the 23rd. We know that we need community support, and to the parents that started a letter writing campaign to the superintendent and the school district, kudos to you. I mean, we are really proud. I'm a parent too. I have two young kids that are under the age of 12, so they do not have access to the vaccine. And I'm fighting for not just my kids, but everybody's kids. We know that we can teach our children, but we have to have all these mitigating strategies in place in our schools to protect our communities from the widespread of this COVID variant.
What is UTD's position on teachers being masked and teachers being vaccinated?
So we definitely recommend the vaccine. We want folks that can take it and have access to the vaccine to get it done. We know that there are, although we don't have an official poll, we do believe that we have over 60% of our workforce is vaccinated, always pushing for more, because whether or not you get vaccinated, if the people around you are vaccinated, then obviously you're not allowing the virus to be spread, and you're being protected by those around you, which is what we're always looking for, right? Having more people in our communities vaccinated. Our teachers want to protect our kids. And, just like there are mandates on uniform wearing, and since you were in the school sector, you understand that kids have to wear a uniform. If it is for their safety, for them to wear, not even just for their safety, if it is for the safety of them and the peers around them and the workforce that is teaching them, then yes, we are always going to advocate for what is safe. And let me reemphasize this. I'm advocating that everyone in our school sites wears a mask.
We've seen over the last few days, certainly the COVID, because of the variant, positivity rate in Dade County, actually all of Florida. I think Florida leads the nation. One of the two states, Texas and Florida, have been cited across many news sources that they are leading the country when it comes to positive people testing positive for COVID. The variant has put a lot of people in the hospital. I believe that we still have a breaking records. Yesterday, there was roughly 16,935 people who tested positive in the state of Florida. That's according to Yahoo News, and approximately 12,000 people are hospitalized, with a percentage of those being children. Chief, can you speak to the fact that how important it is to get vaccinated, and for our community that's listening to us to really get educated and do the right thing, protect themselves by getting vaccinated?
Thank you for having me. I do appreciate being here and listening to a lot of wisdom that I'm hearing here. The other day, the Jackson Health, they said the average age in the hospital was 36 years old. So if you know anything about math, you take that 36 and a half and add to it, and then subtract from it, if this is a true median, which means the oldest age there is 54 and the youngest is 18. So if the oldest age there is 54, what's missing in this equation? The elderly, because the vaccine has worked for the elderly. The age is dropping, the median age. How far it's going to go, I don't know. But again, if it dropped down to 34, then the youngest age is going to be 17. And you could just do the math from there. It's dropping. And now there's reports, and I've been researching and seeing more reports around the country of young children in the hospital. That's scary. You don't know how these mutations are going to take hold. Now there's something sitting just over the horizon, the Delta Plus variant. And by and large, when variants occur, they don't get weaker. They usually get a little stronger. And why do these variants occur now? Well, because not enough people are getting the vaccines. Just about all the scientists are saying that if enough people got the vaccinations, this thing would burn itself out because it would have nowhere to infect anymore.
Right.
The perfect example, smallpox. That's how it was eradicated. Polio. That's how it was eradicated. And nobody argued about getting those because it wasn't politicized.
Correct.
Right.
The fray of mask and the implications of who's making the decision, that's not for me to say. Certainly not as in a uniform. That's not for me to say. What I will say is that I am adamant that people should be getting the vaccine. We need to safeguard. And here's another caveat to all this. The last person, aside from a child, obviously, but the last person you want on life support is the economy. Now, we keep hearing talk about shutdowns. Nobody wants a shutdown, nobody. But we keep having in our mind a government shutdown. And there's where people are making the mistake. Let's say I own a Chick-fil-A, a Subway. I got 6, 7 employees. Here comes COVID. Now people start going out or quarantining. Maybe they don't have it, but they got to quarantine. I got to shut my business down. There's the shutdown. Now, my focus has been with the police because, like I've said many times, when you're sitting on a plane and you're listening to the flight attendant, one of the things they say that for people that hear it for the first time makes no sense. If the air mask drops, put it on yourself first, then put it on your child. If we have to protect and serve, we need to protect ourselves, the police first, get our ducks in a row before we can protect and serve. So that's why I'm pushing so hard for law enforcement, beyond law enforcement. Of course, we need the whole community. We need to safeguard the doctors, the nurses, the teachers. I mean, above the firefighters, the police, above that, those military, those are the most important in the society right now. Teachers and nurses and doctors sitting right at the top.
As the president of a union that represents thousands of people, thousands of teachers, frontline workers in the schools, support personnel, what are the stories that you've heard from those people who have not been vaccinated, who are sitting in the hospital or have been affected by COVID, whether children or adults? Please convey that information.
It really is a very sad situation because I think all of us at some point have had somebody that we know get COVID. And if you're fortunate, you haven't had somebody that has been in a very grave situation. I lost my grandmother last year to COVID. I had an uncle. Thank you. I had an uncle that was on a respirator or on a ventilator for 40 days, and they had already given up on him. They said, go ahead and start making the funeral preparations. He's not going to get out of it. We're thankful, so thankful to God, because he did survive. He's doing, therapy, rehab, because he had to learn how to walk and talk and everything else again. But it's real. And, in Alachua County, which is one of the counties that actually bucked what the governor said last week and mandated masks in all of their schools. They had a child that did pass away from COVID, and it's a small county. They have ICU, their ICUs in the children's hospitals are filling up. They have many children in the ICUs, and so they're seeing the first-hand experiences of what the damage is to children. And here's the thing: like, why do we wait? Why does the child have to die? Why do we have to see kids in ICUs before we react? The death of no one is worth the wisdom of putting mandates in place and making sure that people are safe. And it's very sad because you never want to see a grieving parent. We grieve for parents all the time. Depending on what part of the city you live, that some kids, unfortunately, due to gun violence, we have grieving teachers and classrooms more than we like to count. And so it's horrible. And to see that there are situations that are happening across the country, that we are the epicenter of the nation again. It's unfortunate because we haven't learned from the past. We haven't learned from our mistakes. We are right now at this point in August, very similar to the point that we were at last summer. And last summer, we reopened and we had all these mandates on mitigation strategies. And so I tell people that I feel like I'm at the intersection of the Twilight Zone and Groundhog's Day, because we haven't learned. Like, we're doing this again. We have more knowledge, we have more data, and we should just be smarter, and make the decisions based on what we know help to mitigate the spread and help to keep our economy going and protected children and gave parents the ability to go to work and, gave us solace here in our community. And then it's just really unfortunate, both of our colleagues have said that here we are playing politics, and we're playing politics with children, and we're playing politics with people's health. And this is about doing what's right. And we hope that we have some strong leaders that step up to the plate and, say, we're not going to do this. We need more Rosa Parks moments right now. And we're hoping to see leaders do that.
I agree wholeheartedly with what Karla Mess said. And I don't believe Tallahassee should be mandating to Dade County or Alachua or anything like that. Do you believe police departments are going to slowly start requiring officers to get vaccinated? And for those officers that refuse, will they be given reasonable accommodations? Where is law enforcement community moving in this?
I don't see it happening right now. There's a lot of components at play. We'd have to tap in to see how the unions, how they would stand on it. And would that be a negotiating or a part of a negotiations before we do this? They would want this. I don't know. I was in the union for a long time with the city of Miami. I'm still very pro-union, even as management. I have no problem with that. The fact is, I think now from a management point of view, without imposing on people, I would prefer to persuade now. I think we need to lead by example, though. At the end of the day, law enforcement needs to lead by example. And at the end of the day, I, being a chief of police, have to lead above the rest of law enforcement by example. And I've been vaccinated. I do wear masks in businesses as see fit. Outside, no. But if I have to go back to that and start doing it, absolutely. You got to do what you got to do to make this thing stop.
That's right.
Chief from El Portal and the president of UTD, Karla Mess, thank you for being on Miami Cop Talk. Until next time. And on behalf of Robert Asencio and Raul Correa, we want to thank you for listening to Miami Cop Talk. Stay connected and visit us at miamicoptalk.com.